I have an app idea that I need feedback on, and I'm not saying it's a good idea. It might be terrible, but I can't stop thinking about it. What's up guys, I'm Wes, and this is SignalMode. This video is a little different because I'm not showing a finished product. I'm not launching anything. I'm not saying I have this all figured out. I just have an idea that keeps coming back, and before I spend too much time building it, I want to know if it actually makes sense. The idea is called Lotser, and the simplest way I can explain it is this. What if a homeowner could see a hidden interest in their home before they even listed it for sale? Because right now, if you own a house, you usually have no idea if someone would actually want to buy it unless you officially put it on the market. You either list it, talk to a realtor, test the waters, or just never know. But what if there was a way for people to quietly show interest in homes that are not currently for sale? Not make an official offer, not spam the homeowner, not knock on the door like a psycho, just mark interest. Almost like saying, if this home ever became available, I'd want to know. That's the rough idea. A buyer could browse properties, mark interest in homes that they like, and homeowners could eventually claim their home and see if people are interested. And maybe that becomes useful. Maybe a homeowner sees that 3 people are interested in their house and thinks, I wasn't planning to sell, but maybe I'd consider it. Maybe a buyer gets a way to express interest in a property before it ever hits the market. Maybe realtors could use that information to understand demand in an area. That's the part I'm trying to figure out, because I don't want to build another real estate app just for the sake of building one. There are already plenty of real estate apps. Zillow exists, Realtor.com exists, Redfin exists, Facebook groups exists, everything exists. So for this one to be worth building, it has to be something different. To me, the interesting part is not searching active listings. That problem is already solved. The interesting part is hidden demand. The homes people like but can't act on. The neighborhoods people want to get. The neighborhoods people want but can't get into. The buyers who would be interested if the right property became available. And the homeowners who might be curious if there's demand before they ever make a decision. That is the part that keeps pulling me back into this idea. But I also see the problems. How do you make homeowners comfortable? How do you keep from feeling creepy? How do you stop spam? How do you make sure the internet is real? How do you make sure interest is real? How do you protect privacy? How do you make it useful without making it annoying? Those are real questions. And that's what I'm making this video before I get too far with it. Because AI makes it really easy to start building. I could open Codex, start creating screens, add a map, add property profiles, build a login system, and convince myself I'm making progress. But building is not the same thing as validating. And that's one thing I'm trying to get better at. Before I build too much, I want to know if the idea makes sense to normal people. Would you use this as a buyer? Would you care about this as a homeowner? Would it feel useful? Would it feel weird? Would you want to know if people were interested in your home? Or would that just feel invasive? Because I can see both sides. On one hand, if I owned a home and found out multiple people were interested, I might be curious. On the other hand, I also don't want random people constantly bothering me about my house. So the product would have to be designed carefully. Maybe homeowners control whether they are visible. Maybe buyers can only express passive interest. Maybe nobody sees personal information. Maybe interest expires after a certain period of time. Maybe the whole thing has to be more like a quiet signal than a direct content platform. That's why I called it Lotser, at least for now. The name may change later, but the idea is about lots, properties, and interest signals, and that's really what this video is. It's not a launch, it's just me saying, I have this idea. I think there might be something here, but I need feedback before I get too far. So if you're watching this, I'd genuinely like to know what you think. And if you think the whole thing sounds like a bad idea, tell me that too. SignalMode is about building with AI, testing ideas, and figuring out what normal people can actually create with these tools. But part of this has to be knowing when not to build. So this is me putting the idea out there before it becomes a full project. Drop a comment and let me know. If you're into AI tools, business ideas, automation, startups, or watching someone test ideas in real time, subscribe. I've got a lot more coming on SignalMode, and seriously, thanks for watching.